Alright, so I've got the Turbo 400 tore out of the Lexus and all apart on the bench, as you can see here, and we're looking for the cause of our loss of reverse and trans brake function once the transmission warms up. And there's what I found. So everything checks out, appears to be okay with all those components over there, but on our pump, you can see on our inner gear we have a lot of pitting taking place. And that was probably all there from when I built it the first time. I probably just didn't notice because I wasn't really knowing what to look for at that time. But when I open up the pump case here, you can see there is a big drop right here where the pump gear had wore into the pump cover or housing or whatever the hell this is. And you know, in here it looks a little bit better, but so basically the damage to this is no good. So we're going to be losing pump pressure through here. Reverse does typically, I believe reverse uses about double the fluid pressure that all the other gears use. So if we're not making sufficient pressure there, reverse is going to be the first thing to suffer. So all our forward gears felt fine, but reverse was suffering, and I think it's because of this worn pump here. And obviously the trans brake uses reverse to bind up, to hold the car still, bind between reverse and first. And so the car won't roll. So I have this other Turbo 400. I don't know if I've even put this on video yet. I bought this piece. This is out of a 72 Corvette with 30,000 original miles on it. Super low mileage car. And I got it with the intention of putting it in the Z at some point. But that's gonna be a little bit before I'm ready to do that. So what I'm gonna do here now is pull the pump out of this transmission. I paid 250 bucks for this guy. And I actually know the origin of it. I know the car it came out of. In fact, I'm the one who pulled it out of the 72 Corvette from which it came. So the pumps online that I was finding, the replacement pumps, are all pretty expensive. They're all about $350 and up. Like most of them are over 400 bucks. And I paid $250 for that whole transmission. So we're just going to kind of borrow from Peter to pay Paul here, yank the pump out of that, get it ready to go into this. I'm going to go ahead and install a 1/8" restrictor in that pump for the torque converter pressure circuit, because we didn't have one here. So it would be in this hole right here, would be threaded and have a restrictor installed in it, and that just lowers the fluid pressure that goes through the cooler line into the torque converter, because anytime you're cranking up the pressure on these things, you don't necessarily want all that pressure going to the converter. So I'm gonna go ahead and install an 1/8" restrictor on that, which seems to be kind of par for the course. That's where most people it's kind of like a general starting point for a restrictor that a lot of builders use. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to find a way to get this pump out of there and get it over here. Then I got a couple of new things. I'm gonna go ahead and replace the square cut seal on our reverse brake servo. It just was a little flat, and you know, obviously that plays a big role in reverse engagement as well. And then also the direct drive piston, I'm gonna take a look at the seals on it and give it an air check and see if that's gonna be okay also. And then we'll just be putting it back together with new seals for the extension housing, and the pump's gonna get new seals and throw it back together. Everything looked okay. I got new separator plate gaskets. This is just like from a generic rebuild kit, this gasket set, and I don't think it was exactly ideal. So I did order one from Summit that is meant for manual reverse pattern shifting, so it'll be a more appropriate gasket that won't have to blow, like self-clearance, all the little all the holes that are covered up. But everything else looks okay with the transmission. I think we're in pretty good shape beyond that. So one thing I had to do is transfer over this spring right here for our pressure regulator. The heavy duty spring was on our other pump, so we just swapped it right over here to the new pump. And then also these high compression or high pressure seals in place of the steel rings that come here by factory. I'm not really sure why we do that, but I know that they're that way for a reason. So I went ahead and swapped them over from the other pump also. Got a new gasket coming, but before we go back together, the last thing we need to do is we're going to be putting a restrictor for the torque converter pressure circuit right there. And basically just going to limit flow and pressure to the torque converter and through the cooler hoses. This allows us to loosen up the converter a little bit, and also just reduce the amount of pressure that goes through our cooler hoses. And so the hole's already a 5/16 hole, or a little bit smaller, so you can take a 5/16 tap and just put threads into it like I did here. Real simple stuff. And then the way we're going to make our orifice is going to be with this 5/16 bolt. Basically just drill a hole, hollow out the center of it, chop it to the length we want, and then I'll just cut a slot that a flathead screwdriver can fit into, and we'll be able to just thread it right into the hole with some red Loctite, and we'll never look back again. So this is what we're left with. Very simple. And it will work just fine. We'll use a flathead to install it into our bore. I'm gonna take one more step to just kind of squeeze this in the vise to kind of just booger the threads a little bit on purpose, so that it kind of it's hard to get in and it's less likely to spin in the hole. And then I'll apply a little bit of Loctite before installing it, and we'll cram her in there. Of course, making sure it's below the surface right here, the mating surface for the other half of the pump. And yeah, it's gonna fit great, and it's gonna kind of slow things down. Greetings, folks. Your boy Steve.
Hey, Matt.
So today we made a little trip, unscheduled trip to Haltom City. See, we're at Fuel City right now, hence the hat.
Just got tacos.
The fly new drip, baby. Amen. And we came out here for a reason beyond just Fuel City tacos and ball caps. So we met a man who had some 280ZX parts. We got a control arm for the Z. This is going to take place of the one we have on it that's actually meant for a different style suspension. Okay, so we've had some janky little washers and spacers to make the caliper work on the left rear for the Z forever, since we got it. So this is the correct arm that has the correct mounting position to use a normal caliper. Right now our brake pads hang off the edge of the rotor by like a 1/4 of an inch.
Yeah, so, it's real goofy looking whenever you take the pads off to replace them.
It's kind of silly, but we're gonna get that straightened out because we want to start streeting the car again. For the same purpose, we also got this wiper motor and the wiper arms. We took that shit off back in the day for weight reduction, and now we're like,
shit, come on.
It doesn't weigh anything, yeah. Now we're like, damn, we sure wish we could street the car a little bit, because at some point we'd like to be able to street the car a little bit more.
It'd be awesome to have 2 raceable, streetable cars. That would be great.
For sure, for sure. So this is kind of a step in that direction. It was dirt cheap, so we went ahead and picked that up too. And then finally, the other thing you saw here was yet another Jatco.
Can never have enough Jatco transmissions.
You really can't. And I bought a Turbo 400 for the Z for later. We're not really there yet. We had to actually steal the pump off of it for the Lexus. So the Jatco, I feel like I've learned. I feel like I have bettered myself in my knowledge for modified transmissions with all this Turbo 400 stuff. We've done a lot and learned a lot with the Turbo 400 that's in the Lexus. And so I'm going to apply a lot of that lessons here to the Jatco.
We're going to put his knowledge to the test.
We found a guy who's running 9s.
Who claims he's doing it with a Jatco.
Yeah, with the Z, running a Datsun, stock transmission in the 9s. I saw the video, it was fast as hell. He says he's doing it with a Jatco. I'm gonna see if he can give me some clues, but more importantly, it just tells me that it's capable.
It's possible. Yeah,
and so just having a nice whole one that's complete, that has everything we need here. I got a couple that are tore apart at the shop too, but this is a nice fresh start. I can build this while the Z still drives and races.
Right.
So I'll probably start looking into doing that a little bit more. And then tomorrow we're going racing with the Z. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys at the track. Greetings, folks. We're out here at the track now, and hanging out with us is our buddy Jason and his FC RX-7, which has a LSA blower 6.0 liter in it, and this thing is a super tidy build. Jason's been helping us out quite a bit. He actually loaned us the fender roller that we used on the Lexus, and he's been bumping into us at the tracks here and there along the way. But he's got a super tidy build, 8.8 independent rear suspension rear end, and he's got this thing dialed in the mid 6s. And so we're gonna get to see if this thing makes some passes tonight. Also out here hanging out with us is our buddy Sal, who just made a pass, I think. This is him pulling up now in his Hellcat. This is a 2020 Hellcat, totally stock. All right, baby, this is it, dude. Are you ready for this? Let's see this fat old thing can do. Are you ready, Sal? So let me explain. Sal's an old friend of mine from way back in the day. You might remember him from Motorplex when he had his Mustang GT500 out at the track, and we were able to put some gaps on him with the Z. So shortly after that, he sold his Mustang, and it's always been a long-running joke that he sold it because it got beat by the Z. Now he has this 2020 Charger Hellcat, and I went on social media and called him out in front of all our friends and family to see if he wants to run it against the Z. I gotta get lots of video evidence, bro. Everybody's gonna want to see it. I know your biggest fans, Alex and Patrick, are not gonna believe it if I don't get it all on camera. But don't worry, this guy sees all the way around.
Catches all right.
We ain't gonna miss it. Don't go blow the tires laptop, bro. You don't need to. Take it easy. Give it a, hey, don't be touching my laptop, bro. Ah! Fucking smoke this 5-0 for a little warm up around the night. Yep. Well, we smoked a 5-0. That's 7-8. Dookie. That's not going to beat that Hellcat, though. We got to get that figured out. I'm going to get out the laptop right now and see what we can do to make it better. Hey man, what's the retail on one of those things?
More than you can afford, bud.
Sal, do you want me to lie to them? Not bad, dude. That 1.760 was faster. Sorry for this car, though. I'm gonna turn up the launch some more. You better be ready. I think dang! That was a good race. That was good, dude. We both ran 7.5. Nice. For a second going from that 1-2 shift, and I think I shifted say hair late on that 2-3, but that 1-2 definitely felt like I sat on the rebel limiter for a second. But hey, we got the win, baby. All right, so we made a couple of different passes tonight against the Hellcat, and we've taken the W in both of those. And as satisfying as that is, these are not great passes. We're 60 footing 1.7s. We're running 7.5s, okay? The Z has much better in it than that. So we're gonna go ahead and send it real hard here with a good launch, and we put our vacuum tees back in our wastegate circuit. I added a little bit of timing. We're giving her the beans. I mean, this is everything we've ever put to it. Might blow an axle.
Send it.
Might run a 6. Who knows? But Matt's gonna be behind the wheel. Maybe he can get him a good low 7 pass. We're gonna send it nice and hard and see what see what she's gonna handle tonight. This is our buddy Sal's friend with it's a 5.0 with a Whipple. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's all-wheel drive. He was running some super low 7s tonight. You broke it! What happened?
I don't know, man. It felt like it left good at first. Felt like it got just barely off the line fine, but it started bucking real hard, dude. I think I started spinning after I started.
Do you think it broke during that? Or
I don't know.
I heard some violence. It was like...
It felt...
Woo! Like I could just hear that loud...
It felt pretty violent, dude.
Squawking.
Yeah, it felt pretty violent.
Okay. We're not sure yet. What do you think? You think something's broke? Reach down there and give it a jiggle. Yep.
You can hear it, dude.
Oh yeah, it's broke. It's the axle this time, not the hub.
That's good. We got an axle.
Oh, we do have an axle. It's at the shop, but we have one already. Well, we have a hub too, but it's the new one too, dude.
It's the new one that broke?
Yeah, the old clapped out original one on the left side is still good.
Axle broke? Broken axle.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us for tonight. We snapped the axle on the Z because I put the axle snapping tune in it. And lo and behold, it happened. But we had a great time tonight. Our buddy Jason and his RX-7 just makes it look easy. That LSA swapped FC is just too clean and it just works too good. It's a great car. It's a bracket car that he does really well with. So that's really exciting. And Sal's best time in the Hellcat was a 7:56. If I'm not mistaken, maybe a 7:54. So he's definitely starting to get that thing dialed in. Traction's obviously a problem with those cars always, but that's gonna do it. Another great night at I-30 Dragway. Definitely make a point to come out here and check it out at some point. There was no lines all night. If you guys are racing anywhere else, you've got to check out I-30. It's just too good out here. Great food, short lines, awesome track, good enough to break a couple of axles already. But that'll be all for this week. We'll see you next week. Like and subscribe.